Wouldn't let me unmute. And I was also trying to, oh, there it is. Hold on. Huzzah.
Huzzah! Forward down the field.
Yes, sir. Oh, it feels like so long since Thanksgiving. I already feel like Christmas is like next week. I don't know if it's just me wanting to get this bad taste out of my mouth or what, but Thanksgiving Day game, we'll talk about it a little bit. But first and foremost, boys, did you have a good Thanksgiving?
I had a great one. Julius, you talk about it, though.
My Thanksgiving was bland. First of all, I was in Germany where they don't celebrate
Julius, talk us through that. First Thanksgiving, like, out of the country, I assume?
I don't even mind it. I don't mind it. I'm out of the country. I was expecting it. However, when the Lions show that kind of effort against the Green Bay Packers and lose their 7th straight game on Thanksgiving, my Thanksgiving in Germany is ruined.
Yep, that's usually how it goes. And
it was
ruined for you guys and my family. I had a good food. Ruined.
Yep. It was ruined in Michigan, too. Great times, great family. I sat there and prepped all my food while we did our show, multitasking, cooked it, ate it all. That's why you got to eat before the Lions game, right? Like, all food's got to be done at noon. So you have about a half hour to really enjoy your good food. And it's like, the Lions are going to kick ass today. This food tastes delicious. It's amazing. And then the day can be ruined after that. But at least you got really good food. And instead of being all pissed off, like, angry eating, not even enjoying your food and stuff like that. So
100%, Nick, because I guarantee you there were some families in Michigan that had dinner. Oh, let's eat after the Lions game. Perfect. And families sitting at the table. Mom, the ham's great. Quiet, Billy. The Lions lost. We're eating this right now. And you just have dead silent, the little like utensil cutting on the plate, you know, and it's just dad's just, you know, hammering down that turkey and ham. So 7 straight losses on Thanksgiving. I guess it'll just make next year all the more better. Hopefully,
no moon next year. What do we call that?
Right. Yes. The waxing gibbous, man.
The waxing gibbous, bro. God. I laughed that off when you brought it up on Thanksgiving. I was like, what the fuck is it? Who knew? That shit would be real as hell. When the tides are at a certain way and the moon's in a certain, dude, Lions can't win.
And you know what the crazy part is? A little side turn here. My brother is like a huge believer in like the moon and the tides and like Mercury retrograde and all that stuff. And he's kind of like made me buy onto it into a certain sense in which, oh, there goes my phone. He whenever a day is going crazy, something's just weird's happening. I will literally ask him, hey, is Mercury in retrograde? And he'll be like, yup. And it's just only these weird days where just like weird stuff happens. It happens. So it's like, oh, maybe there is a little something to this. But that damn waxing gibbous can just get out of here. Don't show yourself on Thanksgiving or on any Sunday, Lion Sunday ever again.
Man, I don't believe in none of that astrology, horoscope. If you're a Sagittarius tomorrow, no, it's not happening. I don't believe in the waxing gibbous. I believe that the Lions just suck on Thanksgiving for 7 straight years. They need to end it at 8.
Yeah, we do.
Very well true. Very well true. I'm curious. Do you think we'll stay in the NFC North next year? Or do you think they'll give us like a good a popping opponent?
If we win the division, I bet you we get like a really good team, and it'll be like Lions versus San Fran or Lions versus Philly or something like that. Maybe even like Lions versus Jaguars or Texans.
Yeah, I can see our AFC. Yeah, definitely. Our AFC opponent, we bring them on over for Thanksgiving. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But, all right, let's dive into this game real quick. I know it's ugly and I know we don't want to talk about it, but Jared Goff, boys, are we getting a little more concerned? It started off interceptions in the Chicago game, and then it seemed like, oh, no interceptions, good. Well, fumbles. So Jared Goff, the baby hands are back. They were doing some extra ball handling protection drills in practice today. Might seem a little silly, but I like it. I like that Dan Campbell's like, no, we have to fix this. I know fumbles are kind of, a little fluky sometimes, but it can't help. I mean, I can't imagine, going through all practices, having a coach just swatting at the ball, just making sure I'm not dropping this. I'm not dropping this. That just sticks in your head. And if you don't do those drills for, however many weeks or whatever, you just don't practice about it, then you start to forget it. I kind of think that's what Goff had in his mind. He kind of was so protective on the interceptions that his ball security and just pocket presence kind of faded away. And I think we did see a little bit of Goff kind of just sitting, waiting a little bit. Granted, the offensive line was the worst I have seen it in quite some time. But all in all, Nick, is Jared Goff kind of worrying you a little bit?
Jared Goff always worries me. There's been a roller coaster of emotions around Goff from the day we acquired him to today. And there's been highs and there's been lows. I have to think that he's been injured. Like, I know it doesn't say it, but that's just like what I see out of Goff. This isn't the Goff that we're used to. And I know it's divisional opponents. And divisional opponents, I think people overlook those. When we play the Packers, when we play the Bears, as bad as they are, intra-division games are just tough. They're really hard games to play. You see each other a lot. They know a lot about you. Our offensive line was bad, but Goff, I believe one of those fumbles, someone sneezed in the third row of the field, of Ford Field, and that's what made him fumble that ball. Like that ball, the dude blinked at him. I don't remember who caused that fumble. Not the one where it became a touchdown, which was obviously an incomplete pass in my opinion, but the other fumble, the dude touched it with his cuticle, and it freaking went jumping around. Like the guy's eyelash fell on the ball, and Goff was like, "Oh God, I can't control this ball." So I don't know what's going on. This was something that we saw from Goff in his first year, and we've seen the turnovers go down and down and down. So I'm a little curious if there's some kind of injury going on. We didn't allow him to have any time behind this line. It was gruesome. It was ugly. It was a very bad Packers game, and we were still in it. We were a one onside kick away from tying this game up, in my opinion, but we didn't get it. So I'm a little nervous about Goff. I'm not gonna lie. I'm salivating. I'm talking about it so much. Julius, what do you think?
Honestly, I'm not that worried about Goff. Honestly, I just think that he's on a little cold streak. However, I don't feel like it's hard for Goff to regain his composure. All he needs is one good quarter, right? The fumbles and stuff, you're right, Nick. It's very ticky-tacky. It's almost like the ball's barely being fumbled by Goff. Even the interceptions the week before were two of them were tipped, so it's not like he's throwing bad passes. His accuracy is off. I think his timing is slightly off. I think he's holding on to the ball too long. And with Goff, it's a head thing. It always is. However, I think with this offensive line, this running game, he just has to establish a good quarter of football and then make that a good half of football. And then I think Goff is back on track. So I'm not worrying yet. But if he have another 2 or 3 turnovers today, let's not fool ourselves. We're going to be calling on Hendon Hooker to get first team reps. If Goff throw 3 interceptions, if he fumbles the ball 3 times, if we lose to the Saints because of turnovers, and we're 8-4, we're going to panic even more than we're panicking right now. Right now, we're keeping our cool, guys. If we have another bad turnover-plagued game by this offense, by Jared Goff, I'm telling you there's going to be a portion of the fan base asking Hendon Hooker, looking at Hendon Hooker Tennessee highlights and ready to get him on the field first team reps.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Boys, do we think it's a little odd that, we're just now, I mean, granted, it has been, 12 weeks or whatever, so Hendon Hooker should be, returning to health, but we activated him and are kind of getting him back to practice right now. I feel like it's just why didn't we do that 3 weeks ago? I mean, was he not healthy 3 weeks ago? There's no way. They were just,
We got Teddy Bridgewater back up. We really don't need to rush the kid. let's not call him a kid. He turns 26 like next month or January or something. He getting up there, you know what I'm saying? He's about to be an NFL veteran. But we didn't need to rush him back with the addition of Teddy Bridgewater. He's one of the best backups in the game.
And I also will say, the Lions fans right now, our expectations slash like I can't think of the word, just like freak out meter, I guess, is not high because of how bad the Vikings have done these last couple games. They choked against the Broncos, then they just choked against the Bears, and now it's like, okay, we're back in the driver's seat for the North. But if the Vikings won those 2 games, it would be panic amongst Detroit. This would be a must-win. We cannot lose. We have to beat the Saints. If we lose this game, we'll miss the playoffs, essentially. But now it's like, okay, if we lose, there's still a scenario we win the North. Not the end of the world, but obviously we need to get this done against, a kind of bad Saints offense led by Derek Carr, and not to mention they will be out Michael Thomas, Rashid Shaheed, and unfortunately not Chris Olave. He did pass concussion protocol, but ultimately, Hendon Hooker, do we think we see him at all, regardless if the Lions lock up the North or not?
So there is a chance. I'm going to say no to that question, but the only I think the best opportunity that he would have is week 18. We have solidified ourselves in the 3 spot in the NFC or 2 spot, wherever, probably more likely the 3 spot. And we have solidified our division. So no matter if we win or lose, we aren't moving away from the 3 seed in the NFC, and we aren't moving away from the division lead. If that's the case, there is a chance that we play Goff for maybe the first half of the week 18, and then we get, instead of Teddy Two Gloves, we get Hooker in the back half, just to kind of see like Patrick Mahomes a few years ago when Alex Smith started his 17 games, and then Mahomes came in for that last game. It would be similar to that scenario. And I don't think it would be Teddy Two Gloves. Again, I think it'd be Hendon Hooker because we know what Teddy can do. And if he has to come in during the playoffs because Goff goes down, it's just going to happen. I don't think the 2 quarters of play time is really going to like get the rust off of him or anything like that, where Hendon Hooker would at least show us, like, give us an idea of what potentially is there and just get a little bit of plays on film for us to break down and look over throughout the offseason. So I think that would be our only opportunity, only chance.
Kind of think so too. I can't imagine they would jump ship, like if Goff even just has another bad game. I can't imagine they'd, pivot into panic mode. It's not, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes' MO. They're trust our guys. Granted, Hendon Hooker kind of is one of their guys, but they know who Goff is. And I think Goff can bounce back, have a good game, and get it done against the Saints. I think the Saints are a very good team to play right now. It's not like their offense is crazy good where it's like we have to stop their offense. It's pretty much, if we can put up, 24 points, 27 points, 28 points, we'll probably win this game. If we can just get the offense going, that's all right. Defense would be nice to have them locked down, but we don't need it. So, any other takeaways from this Lions-Packers game? I know, I'm trying to think. One thing I will say, the DBs, I want to see I don't know what it is, but I feel like every catch in that game, every player was playing 5 yards, 7 yards, 10 yards off. Sutton was just playing deep off of Watson, Reed, and they just had so much space to just run and then turn. And by the time a Packers wide receiver makes their cut, the Lions DB's like still backpedaling. And the next thing you know, they got 7 yards of just wide open space. So, Julius, is this any type of concern, or do you think Aaron Glenn can, correct this and get it done?
It's a concern because it's a trend. The trend has to end. We need like a multi-sack game. We need some turnovers. We can't get bled out in the passing game. It's been like what, 3 games? The Bears, they kind of did their damage against us. The Chargers, even though we won again, they did their damage against us. And then the Packers exposed us and we lost. That has to stop. If it doesn't, you're just going to hear more of the same. It's when problems start to turn to trends like this defensively, especially in Detroit, where we have this long history of subpar defensive efforts, subpar defensive meltdowns. We've had mid-season defensive meltdowns. There's just too much history here, and I don't want to go SOL with it. Aaron Glenn, he's not Ben Johnson. He doesn't have a sustained record of success on his coordinating part of the ball. He's had some improvements by individual players, but overall, the defense is still the core Achilles of our team. So the trend must end. That's my message.
Agreed.
I think
Go ahead,
there's
Nick.
a lot to say about our defensive line when it comes to our cornerbacks. We have it can't just be Aiden Hutchinson. And Aleem McNeil is really good, but he's not Aaron Donald. He's just not at getting to the quarterback. It is what it is. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. Charles Harris, Julian Okwara, John Kaminsky, those are not top edge rushers on the other side of Hutch. Like, it's just not. We need someone. We need James Houston back badly. And until we get him, which it doesn't seem like we're going to, I doubt Bruce Irvin really steps up to be what James Houston was at the back half of last year. The reason we won 8 of 9 games, or what was it, 8 of 10 games last year to finish the season, was because I believe in that same stretch, James Houston had 8 sacks in like the final 6-7 games. Like, there was a correlation to that. And before, when we were beating the Raiders, I think we had 6 or 7 sacks against the Raiders. But over the last 4 games, I think we've had 1 sack, and that was Hutchinson getting to Justin Fields at the end of the game. Like, it's not good. And that's what the cornerbacks are like. Our cornerbacks weren't good to start. Like, Jerry Jacobs, I don't really care anymore. The dude blocked us, so I'm going to talk whatever the hell I want about him. Will Harris, like, they're not good. They're not starters. I'm sorry, but they're not starters. Jerry Jacobs was on pace to be Amani Aurore with interceptions, and also on pace to be Amani Aurore the following year, because he's a depth player, and Will Harris is a depth player. Cam Sutton is really good, but he's been getting burnt lately. And that's not because of the cornerbacks per se. That's because our defensive line has been abysmal. It's interesting to see the two correlate. So if we're going to have better secondary play, we need to have better defensive line push. And I'm not blaming Hutchinson at all. A lot of people out here, a lot of Lions fans are calling Hutch to be a bust, calling Hutch to be off the team, calling Hutch to be nothing. What the fuck? That's some of the dumbest stuff I've ever seen in my life, ever heard in my life. But but they're right in the fact that they want to be mad that our defensive line isn't getting to the quarterback and getting home. And that's fair. I don't think you need to put it on Hutch. We need Okwara to step up. We need John Kaminsky to step up. We need Bruce Irvin to step up. Like, we need this. So I'm very curious to see how our defensive line does this week against the Saints, which then can lead to our cornerbacks, because the Saints don't have a lot of wide receivers out there this week. So it's going to be up. Like, we should be able to win this game pretty easily. It's all going to be based on our defensive line, though.
Saints are strutting out Lynn Bowden Jr. at wide receiver. So if we can't lock him down, get off the team.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about this defensive issues, because there was a lot of people calling for Aaron Glenn's job, myself included, a teeny tiny bit. I put it at if we can't get the job done against this Derek Carr Saints team, where they're down. I guess Michael Thomas and Rashid Shaheed aren't the best wide receivers. It would be more of a Olave to be out, but they're still down 2 of their 3 starting wide receivers, which helps, and have a banged up team all around. So if the Lions just get shredded, there will be some red flags for Aaron Glenn for me. But Nick, you made me think of something. And I don't think Aaron Glenn's the problem. I have taken a complete 180 pivot. And unfortunately, I think it might be Dre Bly. He's our DB's coach right now. This is his first year in the NFL. He only has 4 years of coaching experience at the college or pro level, has never coached the NFL before, and is now coaching this DB's team. And if you think last year, what did we do to get this defense better? We fired Aubrey Pleasant, the DB's coach. Then all of a sudden, Aaron Glenn got his hand back on the defense, got things figured out, and it looked good. And now we're back at this midway point, and the DBs are looking bad. Aaron Glenn, on paper, the stats look weird, but the game, if you kind of watch it, the second half, you can tell it's not, like what it was in that first half. The Lions are getting a little bit better, but they just dig themselves into a big hole early on. So part of me is thinking this might be Dre Bly. And I love him, Lion forever, but business is business, man. Dan Campbell, if you got to make some tough decisions and you got to tell some of your buddies, hey man, it's just not working, then that might be the case. So for me, this is my final straw, I guess. If the Lions get shredded by a Derek Carr led offense, where they posted 5 field goals last week against the Falcons, couldn't even score a touchdown. So if that happens, the Lions will have to change something. If it's firing Bly, firing Glenn, doing something. And I don't think Glenn should be fired, but if we did go that route, I wouldn't be too opposed. Because I trust Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes.
What? You're saying no.
More
You're saying this year. You're saying this year. You're saying an 8-3 team should fire the defensive coordinator and then just run some random scheme and have Dre Bly be our defensive coordinator this year? That's Bush League. That's terrible. You know that. I know that. That can't happen. The Lions have to stick to their plan. Whether the plan works or not, that's the plan. You don't just fire your defensive coordinator on an 8-3 team because the Bears and the Packers scored 29 points. It's not even like they were putting up 50 burgers like the Chargers tried to. You can't fire Aaron Glenn. He is also not the reason. Sure, the scheme isn't great, but the personnel is fucking terrible. Like our personnel, we have Will Harris is our third best cornerback, and Jerry Jacobs is our second best. Like, respect seatbelt gang, but man, I am, and this is me and you we texted into a little bit of a debate, I would call it, between this. Like, I don't know, Julius, you need to be the partitioner here.
Hey, first of all, shout out to you, Nick, for calling out Jerry Jacobs live on air, blocking us on social media because he had some criticism. Some criticism. Some criticism. I'm so hurt in my heart. You're an NFL player. You're getting criticized. Oh my God, you play for the Lions secondary, which is historically the worst heap of crap in professional sports. Shout out to you, Nick. I appreciate you sticking up for our show like that. But anyways, what we're talking about, Dre Bly.
Aaron Glenn, would you ever consider firing him throughout midseason?
Listen, we got a couple more games like we had the last 3. I said it earlier. The trend has to end. If it does not end, then I feel like, okay, Adam, we could come back to this conversation. You know what I'm saying? But I expect it to end, right?
I agree too. I think Glenn will figure this out.
He's not on the hot seat. He's not on the hot seat. Like, he's not going to get fired in season right now. On this playoff run we're at 8-3, he's safe. He is safe. But, we'll see week to week. It's like, the trend has to end.
Let me rephrase. I think I got Glenn, if we have a Dolphins butt whooping, if we look like the Denver Broncos against the Dolphins out there, then that's my only Glenn gotta go. All right. It's come down to that. But if the Lions just, Derek Carr and 250, 2 touchdowns, whatever. I want to see some sort of change if we get shredded in this game. Maybe not a firing, but maybe we change the defense up. You can't tell me Aaron Glenn only knows one defense. He's got to have more in his bag. And you got to imagine, I'm trying to think some other defensive, and I also do think we are missing a veteran presence. I think Glenn is that leader, and when Glenn doesn't always have it picture perfect, he has to turn to the rookie Kelvin Shepherd, Dre Bly, some of these guys who haven't coached long and don't have a lot of experience. So it's almost like he's like, well, I can't trust these guys. I gotta trust myself. And sometimes when Glenn's just doesn't have it figured out, he just doesn't have it figured out. So I don't know. I agree with you, Nick, too. I think that the players are not helping. Kaminsky disappeared. The Okora brothers are dead. Will Harris, like you said, is our cornerback 3. We weren't planning on this. We should have CJ and Mosley playing. Speaking of CJ, posted on his Instagram December 20th, which is interesting. That's 4 days before the Week 16 game against the Vikings. Would be a huge game, too. I think that could be the NFC North clincher. Now, I don't expect him to be back that December 20th. I literally expect CJ and Houston, I'll say, the first playoff game. I think they'll make the return that first playoff game. Maybe they play a quarter, a teeny tiny bit in that week 18 game, but I don't expect to see them in any meaningful regular season games. I just think their impact isn't big enough to be able to like, oh, we need these guys to, shut down these two teams. It's like, okay, we need these guys to, help our defense out. It's, we're not getting JJ Watt and, prime Darius Slay. We're getting, two quality guys back. But ultimately, any other, I guess, qualms with this Lions defense or other routes we could go. So we got firing Bly, probably not going to fire Glenn or change the defense. Unfortunately, the other thing too, can't go trade for anyone, which kind of stinks. And Bruce Irvin.
Did you hear what Julius just said?
What'd Julius say?
Sign Ndamukong Suh. Put him in the middle next to Aleem McNeil and provide some interior pressure. So when they triple team Aiden Hutchinson on the outside, somebody gets home in the middle, in the wide open middle gas you're leaving in the middle of the field. He's still on the market, wouldn't cost much. He's a former Lion. Bring him back in the fold.
Someone just got released that was really good. I was actually trying to quickly look it up, but I guess I can't find it right now. Do you guys know? Yeah, there was a cornerback.
Marcus Peters?
It was Marcus Peters, and then there was someone else too, and I can't remember who that other person was. But even Marcus Peters, I know he's kind of a head case, but like, so is CJ GJ. Like, what? I mean, I'm sorry. I love Gardner Johnson. I love Gardner Johnson. I don't want him coming on our show and hating on us. Like, but he's a little bit of a head case. Like, it is what it is. That's what makes him better. That's what makes him great. That's great. Some got people like when I play softball, I'm a fucking head case. I'm yelling. I'm freaking out. I'm crazy. For a beer league softball game, I should never be acting like the way I do, but I do, and that helps me get better. So, Marcus Peters, why are we not talking about adding him? Why is there no conversation around that? Why is there no conversation around every single cornerback that has gotten released from their team? Because we brought in Bruce Irvin. It's not like we're scared to bring in guys, right? We're just looking for the right guys. So I don't know. I'm sorry, Marcus Peters isn't like a saint, but not a New Orleans saint, but like an actual saint. Like, but he could help our defense.
I know. It can't hurt.
It can't hurt. It can't hurt. It can't hurt unless he like goes in the locker room, unless he like Corey Perry's someone, you know what I mean? If anyone knows hockey and knows that story, which if you don't, I won't bring it up, but just Google it. But anyways, like unless he does something like that, then he'll be fine. So I don't see why we aren't doing that.
Darius Leonard, another name pointed out. I don't think we'll get him.
I believe it's Shaquille Leonard now, not Darius Leonard.
Darius, Shaquille, whatever I call him. I don't know if his real name is Darius or if his real name is Shaquille and he like flip-flops.
I think his name is Darius Shaquille Leonard. Shaquille might be his middle name.
I think
he goes by Shaquille now. If we want him on our show, we need to make sure we're calling him by his name because he's probably going to be listening.
He's taken interviews with the Cowboys and the Eagles. Those are the only two that he said for now. But you never know. Those two teams, scare him off, make him, not interested. Who's the third best? Actually, I guess the 49ers are still over there, but the 49ers have enough. So bring them to the Lions. Come on. Shaq. Let's talk a little Saints-Lions preview. We do have some injury news. Not a whole lot, though. It's looking like we're only going to be missing Alex Anzalone. Kind of stinks because he's our Saints guy. It would have been a nice little revenge, redemption, whatever game you want to call it. But unfortunately, Alex Anzalone is not going to be playing. But Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn, both former Saints coaches, so perhaps it's their revenge game. I'm trying to think. I think we have one more Saints affiliate on our team.
CJ.
Yeah, that's who it was. But yes, then he's not playing as well. So Aaron Glenn, revenge game, buddy. Dennis Allen is like, oh my God, I'm so happy I let this dude go. He's destroying the Lions. This guy's terrible. And guess what's going to happen? Aaron Glenn is going to coach a masterpiece, just flawless defensive performance against a horrible coach at Dennis Allen, another key factor here. The coaching matchup, Dan Campbell is just like way ahead of Dennis Allen. I think Dennis Allen should be fired, should be in the hot seat, should not be a head coach. And you also have Derek Carr, who's like just this mid, not, high-powered offensive quarterback. So it's like, this is a perfect bounce back defense, get right game, get your confidence boosted, couple interceptions, couple sacks here, just looking good. But ultimately, the Saints are a little more beat up than the Lions. Cam Jordan, he is questionable. He did not practice Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. It leads me to believe he probably won't play. That will be huge. Marcus May, their safety, is out. Kendra Miller, backup running back, out. Rashid Shaheed and Michael Thomas, wide receivers, both out. Pete Warner, a linebacker, out. And then also another thing to keep an eye on, the Saints kicker, Blake Grupe, had a groin injury in his last game. He's already been kind of a shaky kicker. So this groin injury could make kicking for the Saints a little bit more difficult. So that'll be another thing to keep an eye on. Chris Olave is expected to clear concussion protocol, so he is likely going to play. And then Ryan Ramczyk, he did get a full practice in Friday, but was limited Wednesday and Thursday and is questionable as of now. So it's looking like the Lions are much more healthy than the Saints. And hopefully,
as we just saw with Green Bay,
that
don't fucking matter at all.
Yeah,
that don't fucking matter at all, because I mean, we'll take all the injuries honestly against us. I mean, as a Lions fan, it doesn't matter to me. You got to be the best to beat. You got to beat the best to beat the best. Nah, dude, we'll just take every win that we can get. But what Derek just said down here is going to be the big play of the day. And I don't know if it's going to be Brian Branch throwing up on Alvin Kamara, or if it's going to be Jack Campbell going up on Alvin Kamara. Who's going to be doing the guarding of Alvin Kamara? But it's him and Juwan Johnson and Chris Olave. So those three need to be stopped. That's what we are planning for right now. If they're going to beat us, it needs to be A.T. Perry having 150 yards and a touchdown or something like that. Like, there's no reason like that we aren't doing everything we can to scheme Alvin Kamara out of this game. And it shouldn't be Jack Campbell on him. It should be Brian Branch all over Kamara all day long. If he's running, Branch is coming in. If he's going out for a catch, Branch is going out with him. Just locked on him like white on rice, like fly on shit. Like, he's got to be stuck on him. So that's the big one for me. Hey, Aiden Hutchinson going to get one of those. Oh, yeah.
Hope so.
The omen of the game.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Stopping Kamara is going to be the key factor. I forget what I call. Oh, that's what I called it. I made a little video for High Point Sports Network. Go check them out. Doing the Lions coverage for them. And I predicted Alvin Kamara 7 or more receptions. I think he's going to be a dunk down machine. I think Carr is going to just be rattled from all this pressure, just trying to check it down, and he'll be checked down Sally today. So this could be good and it could be bad, because Kamara is a player that, could house 3 screen passes on 3 straight plays. And he's also a player that, could just get wrapped up and just not have a good game, have, 7 catches for 39 yards, like he literally has the season before. I think he had 13 catches for 33 yards, the most catches and least amount of yards in NFL history. So, Kamara could get those receptions. It's all about just stopping him for those rack yards. Next, I think I agree with Nick. Brian Branch should be on him, like white on rice, fly on shit, whatever you want to call it. But ultimately, Anzalone's out like he's likely going to be. You can't trust Jack Campbell. You can't really trust Rodrigo, especially with him playing offensive snaps, and you're sure as hell not trusting Derek Barnes. So it does truly leave Brian Branch, this, hybrid safety, nickelback DB type player, to be able to follow Kamara. And granted, Kamara, they're probably about the same size, Kamara and Branch. But ultimately, yeah, Nick, I'm with you. I think Branch needs to just follow him this whole game, lock him down. And if we can truly take Alvin Kamara out of this game, there's just no way we lose unless our offense just shoots ourselves in the legs, feet, head, shoulders, arms, whatever.
Julie says nothing to say on that. All right. Well, I do want to say this. It's, if we give Jack Campbell the opportunity to follow him around, it will be a very good learning experience, and it will better him for the next 4.5 years that he is guaranteed to be a Detroit Lion. And I know it might be a step back right now, but sometimes you have to go a step back to go 5 steps forward. And yes, I was just saying I do want Branch on him, but and just to give everyone a little bit of peace of mind, if you see Campbell on Kamara a lot, because Campbell's taken over the mic role. He's got the green dot. He's calling the plays to the defense. He is Anzalone, and this is why we drafted him. This is why we got him first round. I know it's scary, and I know we've watched him this year, and we've seen bad plays. We've probably seen good plays, but we harp more on the bad plays than we do the good plays. It's nerve-wracking, but this is what we got him for. We need to trust Brad Holmes. So, again, I want Branch on him, but if it's Jack Campbell, I don't want to see any fucking tweets from any of you Lions fans being like, Jack Campbell was a terrible draft pick. Like, get out of here, dude. Let this kid learn. It is his rookie year on the hardest position of defense, linebacker, just like, in my opinion, tight end is the hardest position on offense to come in and just be great, which is why Sam Laporta is fucking awesome. Jack Campbell probably will have some bad plays here and there. But in the fourth quarter, if he steps up big and makes a game-saving tackle, game-winning sack, game-tying freaking pass deflection, whatever it may be, we need to praise that and not harp on any bad shit that we get because he is a rookie. He's not the Brian Branch role. He's not the Jahmyr Gibbs. His position is a lot harder than Jahmyr Gibbs or Sam Laporta's or Brian Branch's role. Like, it just is. Like, linebacker is so fucking hard. You need to pass defend. You need to run defend. You need to have eyes everywhere, vision everywhere, especially if you're the Mike linebacker running the fucking defense. So I don't want anything bad about Jack Campbell, unless he is like getting torched, which we can understand. We called out Jerry Jacobs for getting torched in the Seattle game. We are not afraid to do that. But I don't want us to overreact, similar to how Adam overreacts to Aaron Glenn every single week.
Real quick, my boy Derek pointed out Alex Anzalone was kind of playing like a Jack Campbell type last year, and now we see that complete 180. And it's like, that didn't just happen. Like, he's not taking steroids to get that. That happened from play, experience, coaching. I like looking around there. And he earned that, kind of just slowly getting better, developing, better traits and stuff. And Jack Campbell is right on that path. We've seen the good plays. We've seen the layout, the punches, we've seen the big hits, the hit sticks. It's just all that is not going to come together every single game. You're going to see bits and pieces throughout his rookie season, and then hopefully next year or playoffs, he can bring it all into one game. And maybe not, every single game, but he can bring it all into one game, at times. So Jack Campbell, I agree, Nick. Don't want to hear any of that, line, oh, bust, he's a bust. We could have taken him in the 5th round. No. This is just learning, take it one step at a time. And Jack, if you have a couple bad plays, don't sweat it. It's all right, buddy. We're playing the Saints. Bad offense. We can afford a couple bad defensive plays. So
I want to know what Julius has to say about Jack Campbell, because before the year, he was his fucking guy, dude. I'm pretty sure he was his number one fan.
Shout out my boy Ben Schaefer. Bought a Jack Campbell jersey. His first, I guess, not first ever Lions jersey, but first new Lions jersey team. So,
bro, Jack Campbell can honestly be the difference between winning and losing this game, because if he plays average and has a better game than we've seen, the matchup Campbell versus Kamara, if that's the key matchup, he has to win it. It could be the difference between winning and losing, because I just don't know if our secondary, like, what it's going to do. Like, at this point, I don't know if Derek Carr is going to come out and just go like Taysom Hill's going to have like 150 and 2 touchdowns on us. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that. I cannot say for certain that's not going to happen. A big thing is pressure on the quarterback, on Derek Carr. I think if we have pressure on the quarterback, that makes Jack Campbell's job easier against Alvin Kamara and with trying to direct this defense as a middle linebacker. If we have pressure on the quarterback, it makes the secondary's job easier on covering these receivers who are subpar outside of Chris Olave. Taysom Hill, are we going to let him eat us? That's an SOL move right there. If we lose this game and Taysom Hill goes off, Taysom Hill, That's SOL. I don't believe that's going to happen. I think the key to this game, and I'm just going to say, is pressure on. We got to go after Derek Hill. Derek Hill got to be limping off the field, moping around, sad. Aiden Hutchinson hit him too many times. He's getting too much pressure. They're starting to argue on the Saints sideline at home. That's the kind of pressure we need today. And I hope we get it. I really do. I feel like we're going to get it. But that's what
you know what I want to hear.
Jack Campbell's life easier. He's a rookie. You got to go soft on him a little bit. He's a first round rookie playing middle linebacker. Like Nick said, that shit is hard. Give him a break. We need pressure on a quarterback.
I want to hear calls for Jameis Winston in that stadium. I want to hear 2 JMO chants. I want to hear 1 for Jameis Winston. Oh, we want JMO. And I want to hear 1 of the Lions fans that are there because my buddy Ben, boots on the ground in New Orleans, he's saying it's like a 50-50 split. He's saying Lions fans are dominating New Orleans right now. We are going to have a much bigger presence than expected, so hope so. And I want to hear some JMO Lions fans. So let's get that double JMO action. But then again, Jameis Winston might be a little more threat to the Lions than Derek Carr, but ultimately, if it's his first game, I totally do not mind. Or just coming in off a whim or whatever, I totally do not mind it.
I do not want to see Jameis Winston. That motherfucker gonna Matt Flynn our asses, and I'm gonna be pissed as hell, dude. He's gonna come in and put up 550, 5 touchdowns against us, and we're gonna be like, what the fuck? Or Taysom Hill at that point gonna do the same thing. No, 50-50 Lions fans. Gosh dang it. Julius has said this week after week after week after week. Every fucking game is a home game. And that's outstanding. That is great. I just want to shout out every Lions fan that sees this today or this week. Like, shout out anyone that goes to New Orleans or is going to Chicago or is going to Dallas, who will be going to Minnesota. We have 6 games left, including today. 4 of them are on the road. Let's make them all home games. That was awesome. I love our fan base. We are all excited to see this team win. We have each other's back, and I just want to give a quick shout out to the fan base of the Detroit Lions and to the fan base of the Honolulu Blues. We appreciate you too.
And New Orleans is a hard place to do that in too.
Yeah, it's not like the Saints. I mean, great, the Saints haven't had much going for them the last couple of years, but it's not like, they're a Cleveland, they're a Bears, a Texans type team where they're just like haven't had success in years. They're always at, the misery pools. But you feel like there's a lot of, New Orleans fans who are just season ticket holders, just don't want to give up their tickets, or even just Lions fans that are like, you know what? Louisiana's a little far of a drive or flight. Maybe we'll pass on that. Stick to the Chicago, Green Bay games, closer ones. So for Lions fans to get down in New Orleans, love it, baby, love it. Let's get those beads out. Let's get that partying going and have a little celebration.
Celebrate good times. Come on.
Hey, the Big Easy is a tourist destination, man. You can have a good time down there.
That's the thing is, like, I don't know if I'll ever want to go to see a game in New Orleans because I wouldn't leave Bourbon Street. I'd just like be in New Orleans. You know what I mean? I'd just be like, oh, there was a game happening today? Shit, I gotta go home tomorrow, I think. Oh no. So like you can walk around with booze there, man. Bars don't close, great music all around, great food all around. I'd be in a food coma, booze coma. I wouldn't even make it to the game. So that's probably was one thing on my destination that I'm not gonna hit. But yeah, you're right. A great place to go see go to.
Love it. All right, let's get some keys to victory and score predictions going here. I think we're all kind of on the same page. Main key to victory, but let's differentiate. No Alvin Kamara. All right, we all know shutting down Alvin Kamara wins us this game, so let's take him out of the picture. How else do we get this done? I'm going to steal your thunder, Julius. I think the pressure. I think if we can rattle Derek Carr, get to him, get a couple sacks. If we can get 3 to 4 sacks, I think we mow this game easy. Like a 27, I don't even think 17. I don't even think the Saints are capable of doing that, even if the Lions defense is looking bad. So pressure on the quarterback. I'm going to say 4 sacks because I'm going big. Hutch getting 1. Hopefully one's a sack, fumble, touchdown, or even pick 6. But I think the pressure, that's how we get it done. If we don't let if Kamara just runs wild, get pressure on Carr, we can get the job done. I'm going to go 24-17. You know what? I'm going to go 22-6. I think we're going to dominate them just like we dominate the other NFC South opponents. Beat the Falcons 26, beat the Bucks 26, and we're going to beat the Saints 20-6.
Julius?
So my key to victory, honestly, is what I've talked about throughout the show. We're starting with Jared Goff. The trend has to end with him as well. Like, we cannot have a huge turnover played game on the shoulders of Jared Goff against the Saints. And, so I expect him to bounce back. A Jared Goff bounce back game is one key. Another key, pressure on the quarterback. Aiden Hutchinson cannot be triple teamed by the tackle, the tight end, and the running back, and nothing else comes in no form, and Derek Carr just throws it around and Taysom Hill goes off for 150. This cannot happen. This cannot happen. This is very bad. We must put pressure on the quarterback. We've seen it can happen. Aaron Glenn has schemed up games with good blitzes. Either way, we need to put pressure on Derek Carr. And lastly, the prediction for this game, I'm going to go Lions 24, Saints 10. I think this is a comfortable win. I don't even worry. I didn't worry about the Packers, but it was Thanksgiving. I don't know. I should have thought something. I'm giving the Lions the benefit of the doubt, boys. Like, I'm worried about a few things. I'm not making it known as heavy, but I believe in the team that they are. I believe in the team that they are, and I think they bounce back. I think Dan Campbell bounces the team back 24-10, Lions.
We'll answer my dad's question. Fantasy, I'm going to go with Goff on this one. Even though he's on the road, it would be hard to start Howell, in my opinion. Don't the Skins play they play a good team, right? I can't remember. Or not the Skins, geez, the Commanders too. But who is it? The Dolphins? Yeah. Actually, I'm not going to say Goff, actually. I don't know. I'm not answering that question. Let's get to our question.
All right, Dan.
A lot of keys to victory here. Let's just read a couple stats for everyone who doesn't know. The New Orleans Saints have allowed the most rushing yards to quarterbacks. Jared Goff, Jared Jackson, maybe Lamar Goff, as some say. The Saints are one of 5 teams to have the same amount of interceptions as touchdowns allowed, the same or more. So they know how to turn the ball over. So key to victory number 1: hold on to the ball. Goff, get out of this game with 0 turnovers. That's fumbles and interceptions combined. Yes, Travis, I do think Jared Goff might have a 100-yard rushing game today. Goff can't turn this ball over. That is key to victory number 1. The Saints have allowed the 13th most rushing yards. The Saints have allowed the 3rd most receiving yards to the tight end position. The Saints are tied for the most receiving touchdowns allowed to the opposing tight end. Sam Laporta.
Sam Laporta, 3 touchdowns. Sam Laporta, 3 touchdowns. Hammer.
Have a day, Sammy L. Have a day, Mr. Laporta. Goff, do not turn this ball over. Sam Laporta, go be the beast that you are. That's how we're going to win on offense. The Lions have allowed the 3rd most receiving touchdowns this year. The Lions have allowed the 5th most passing touchdowns this year. The Lions have allowed the 4th least amount of rushing yards this year. So what that tells me is Kamara's not really going to run the ball too much against us. I would say under over 45, I'd take the under. But Kamara's going to catch the ball. Okay? Kamara's going to catch the ball, and so is Juwan Johnson, and so is Chris Olave. What we have to do is limit Alvin Kamara and make them beat us with Olave versus Sutton and Juwan Johnson versus whoever's over him. Limit Alvin Kamara. So my 3 things: Goff can't turn the ball over. Limit Kamara as much as you can in the aerial attack when it comes to receiving. And Sam Laporta, go off for 2 to 3 touchdowns today. If all that happens, I foresee the Lions winning this game in a very, very, very tight game. We have been getting very wild with our predictions, and the Lions have been letting us down week after week after week after week after week. Okay. It was fun and all when we were 6-1 or 6-2. We are not the same team right now. We're just not. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it is, but the offense and defense have both regressed because it's a 17-week season, and that just happens in the NFL. That's okay. In a very tight game, I have the Lions winning this 26-25. Detroit Lions by 1.
Real quick, do you have our preseason predictions on this? What we did?
I changed up my room and cleaned it up for family coming over. And to be all honest, I don't know what I did with all those papers right this second.
It's all good. We can come back to it post game.
Yeah, we'll have to.
So, Nick, glad you pointed that out to me because I've been hammering this Sam Laporta 3-touchdown bet ever since he had 2 touchdowns in the Panthers game a while back, and I was freaking out, getting so excited. So, Sam Laporta plus 14,000, 140 to 1. So, $1 wins you $140. Nice little sprinkle for you. But
I do have our preseason predictions too.
Saints have given up 6 touchdowns to the tight end, tied for most NFL, like you said, Nick. And Laporta is a beast. He's had 2. Has he had any? No, he's only had 1 2-touchdown game, right?
Yeah.
He should have had 2 though, because there was one where we went to him. He ran a little just grasser route and he was wide open, but I'm pretty sure he dropped it. And it was my giveaway tweet too. It was the one where I said if Sam Laporta scores 2 touchdowns, blah blah blah. Had 1 and the second one he dropped it and someone else got it. Anyways, Laporta bet that 3 touchdowns or even 2,
or just first touchdown scorer as what I'm thinking.
You're unleashing the gambler in me right now.
It's like venom coming out of that's hilarious. Our preseason predictions, we did this back in May when the season was dropped. At this point, I had the Lions being 8-2-1. Both Julius and Adam had us being 9-2. We had Julius 28-24 Detroit Lions to improve to 10-2. Adam 31-23 Detroit Lions to improve to 10-2. Nick 27-25. What was my original prediction? 26-25. So
that's awesome.
That's kind of crazy. But anyways, 27-25. But I had the Saints winning, so to drop us to 8-3-1. This is gonna be a tight game. This is gonna be really tight. It's the Superdome. We're on the road. Goff doesn't play well if he's on the road unless he's in SoFi. I am nervous, but it is a dome, so it should be a little bit helpful. And if it's 50-50 fan base, it won't be so crazy on Goff when he's on offense, so that should help him out a lot. But just I don't know, just buckle up. This is not going to be your 60-0 win. Like this, we are going to see. This is going to be a game. This is going to be a great game against a team that just lost the lead of their division, who is still 1 game away from their division, also just 1 game away from the wild card. Everything matters to them a little bit more than it matters to us with a few game cushion, and that's never good. You never want to be the team with a cushion thinking, even if we lose this game, we still have a 1-game lead in our division. We still have a 1-game lead in the wild card and all this. The Saints are, if we lose this game, we may never play in the playoffs this year. We are literally starting the playoffs right now, do or die for the Saints. And you do not want to be the team facing that team. It's going to be on Dan Campbell to coach this fucking team and make this team victory. I do not want to see a 4th and 5 go for it on our own fucking 24 because I'm done with that shit. Punt that. We have the best punter in the fucking game. Use him to your advantage. Stop thinking Jalen Reeves-Maybin is LaDainian Tomlinson out there on punts. Like, just stop. Just stop. So it's on Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I agree.
Desperate, bro. They desperate.
I know. Yeah.
It sucks because we pulled that trick in that Chiefs game. And why it worked is because that was the first football game of the season. No one knew the hell what Dan Campbell was going to be. No one knew the hell what this team was going to be. Nothing. So it was like, all right, well, bam, wild card. We're still picking this up from last year. All these 4th downs, we're going for it. And now 8, 10, 12 games in, you can't tell me coaches are not handing out a full pamphlet of how many times Dan Campbell goes for it on 4th down. Watch all their, punts, everything. Like, everything is being monitored now. That week 1 Chiefs game, they were all right, punt it, baby. Pat Mahomes getting the ball. Oh, shit, it's a fake. And now it's like, all right, prep for the fake. It's going to be a fake. It's going to be a fake. And then it is a fake, and they stop it. So it's almost like when we do fake it, we can't go to the aspect of we'll catch them off guard on this one. It's we're going to get these yards if they know it or not.
At that point,
that's the case, don't do those little ticky-tacky trick fake punts, just ram it up the middle with Montgomery,
Yes, exactly. If you are going to go for it on 4th down, you just don't want to give him the ball back. Just go for it. Send Goff out there. You know what I mean? Don't fake it. Jalen Reeves-Maybin is not LaDainian Tomlinson.
And honestly, I am more for, because I think that it was like 4th and like 3 or 4. It wasn't your typical like 4th and 1, 4th and inches. It was had to get a couple yards.
That 4th and like 6, dude.
Yeah, I think I.
Oh, you're talking about the Thanksgiving, like Green Bay game? It was like 4th and 6.
Yeah. Let Jack Fox air that puppy out, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Duke can boot it 90 yards.
Fake little like. Have the how the little blocker dudes, they do like the fake, like, oh, I got the ball. Have 2 of those guys act like they just have the ball. Fox just something, but just easy little grass route sometimes. But ultimately, if we're gonna go for 4th downs, just stick to the Montgomery, slammed it up the middle.
Or we all know Jack Fox might be our second best quarterback. So like, stop putting the ball in Maven's hand and let Jack Fox air that shit out with his arm, baby. Woo, man, he can throw that ball.
Just sneak J-Mo out there as a gunner, and then just have him run in the motion real quick. Give him a little quick, give him the ball and tell him to run.
We did that last year, and we never gave him the ball, but we had him out as a gunner, and everyone was like, "What are we doing?"
We're hurting a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Oh, whoops. That takes.
I will say, devil's advocate, when we did play a notable player on special teams, he broke his ankle. So James Houston.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Ultimately, another little thing to keep an eye on: the points total. They have the Lions as the 2nd highest points total in the NFL. So Saints defense might be not as good as what we think, or the Lions defense might just be able to let Derek Carr have his way. So ultimately, it's set at 48. I think no, Nick, you took the over. What was your pick again, Julius?
My
score
pick was
prediction.
gonna win the game. Oh, the score prediction: 24-10 Lions.
Okay, so me and Julius had the under, Nick, you had the over. All right, so I think it'll be pretty. I don't know. I think it'll be under. I think the Lions defense is going to bounce back. Going to be drinking all that Lionade.
Drinking the Lionade.
And finally,
what?
Actually, I guess the answer is that. Any other, final last comments, tidbits, things you want to talk about for the Saints game?
It's going to be fun. I think I'm going to be live streaming during it. So if you guys are watching this, you want to I'll be there yelling. You'll see my instant reactions, emotions.
You jump on, Nick, I'll probably be on with you, bro. I'm not going to lie. I'll see you on.
Might have to make that 3 in a pod, baby. So keep an eye out for a little maybe Lions stream during the game or something. We'll definitely be posting out tweets, so don't feel like you're gonna have to be refreshing the YouTube constantly. You'll be notified. Don't worry. But ultimately, boys, Lions, let's go get this dub. Check us out on Twitter at Honolulu Blues _. Check us out individually at Nick Faber NFL for Nick and the 5th top for Julius. And as always, everyday FFB for myself. Lions, baby, let's get this done. As always, go.
Lions.
Go.